Okay.
All right, we'll wait just a second for. Is there any people jumping in yet, Jazz, that you can see?
Not yet.
Wait just a minute.
Woo.
All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. Be this week's Live with Lussetto. As always, we have Jazz with us and also Dan Christensen and this week's guest, Jon Kunz with the Dude Pulling Truck out of Colorado. John, would you want to introduce yourself and let everybody know kind of where you are? And
so, of course, Jon Kunz. I'm from Greeley, Colorado, and we have a 71 Power Wagon that we pull pro stock with. And I think now this is our 7th year with this truck.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Did you pull something previous to this truck?
So years and years ago, probably 18 years ago, I pulled a 2-wheel drive truck in Loveland with one of the 4x4 Jeep clubs.
Okay.
So, and then, life got involved and I had to get rid of the truck because I needed something to drive day to day to work. So I got rid of that. And then this one came available out of Wisconsin. Yeah, probably 7 years ago now. And it was just a street stock pulling truck. And I had found it on Race Junk one night. I was up at like 2:00 in the morning with a headache and found it. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then my wife, she's all, that's the truck that you have to have. You have to have it. You got to call him and go buy it. And when I had called him, he told me, he says, well, I got a guy that's supposed to be coming to look at it Saturday. I told him, I said, well, that's fine. If he doesn't buy it or, something, you don't like, just, call me back and I'd love to have it. And we chatted for probably 30 minutes. And he says, you know what, I'm just going to call the other guy and tell him that I'm not going to sell it. He says, it's just yours. I like talking to you. You're really good to talk with. And he says, just come get it. So we went to northern Wisconsin and bought it. And then, we've been playing with it ever since.
And like you said, you started off in the street stock class and you just made the jump to what our pro stock is out here, 2 years ago? Is that correct?
Yeah. 2 years ago, we took all the rear suspension out of it and went pro stock. And then last year we built a new motor and I spent all season with you guys, just trying to get it, to run right. I've been fighting the automatic and so now it's going to go away.
Okay. I didn't realize. So you had an automatic as well. That's interesting.
Yep. Yeah, but I can't get a stall converter that'll go past 5,500 RPM without having a trans brake or, anything goofy in the tranny. So, yes. I'm just foot braking it to as close as 5,500 as I can. And it's just not working out.
Yes. Okay. Oh, very interesting. And just everybody, you started off pulling with NSPA and in their street class and then moved up there. And then, there's been some changes. Do you know, and I should ask you this, is there going to be changes in their pro stock class? Because that's the class out in Colorado has been a little obscure to the rest of the world with a short hitch and a few different rules. Are they changing to 26-inch hitch?
So I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had the rules meeting down here for them.
Yes.
And all the pro stock guys got together and we adopted the outlaw rules 100% for pro stock.
Okay.
So that way, we can go, anywhere that's outlaw and pull. And then, anybody, whether it's Heartland outlaw or regular outlaw, they can come over here and pull.
Yeah, that's
and there was a couple of guys that didn't quite like it, but I think it'll be good all the way around.
And listen, that's very understandable. And they've had that has been a long time great class. And if you've been around that long, were you around some of the old school Colorado pro stock guys like the Lloyd Durfees and such?
Yep.
Okay. And what was the name of that? Oh man, I'm trying to remember the name of the pullers you started with. It was something to.
Well, Durf was around with Care Bear.
Yep.
And then
that jazz.
I like that one.
The Igniter was around, and
Oh man,
Casper was around. Which, of course, is Casper's still out there now.
Has it changed hands a couple times?
It has.
Because I remember a Gettle is the one I remember.
Yeah, Rod Gettle owned it, and then he ended up passing away. And Ray Huffaker now owns the truck, and he pulls NSPA.
Yes,
So.
Yeah, and Dardanus, he's been around quite a long time, but I'm not sure. I don't remember him pulling with that. That group was in Loveland in that area, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Loveland, Longmont, Boulder, Hygiene. Back then, I mean, I can't even remember all the trucks, but I bet you there was 15 Ford and Chevy pulling trucks that were just in that small area.
Yeah. Because, see, years ago, and this is, I almost don't remember this well, but there was a Rocky Mountain truck pullers group.
Yep.
That kind of, and it somewhat merged with the Colorado tractor pullers at the time.
Yep.
And that's a long time ago. That's Dan was a young kid by then, I'm sure.
That's probably 30 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's a long time ago. And I remember that small group kept going. I mean, we didn't have a lot of contact. We had a contact with some of the guys, but that's really interesting. I didn't realize that you said you pulled a 2-wheel drive truck.
Yeah.
With that.
Yep. Yeah, it was basically still a street stock type of deal, because it was what I was supposed to be driving back and forth to work every day. But, you got to play. So,
And I understand they also didn't they have some like light 4-wheel drives like Jeeps and some different class. I mean, they had several different classes.
Yeah. Yeah. They had, I mean, you had, I think they had 2 different Jeep classes, because you had a lightweight and a heavyweight, which would have been like a small block or a big block type of deal. And, they did a lot of that stuff, and I mean, from Wellington to Fort Collins, Loveland, all over the place.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't mean to hijack that. That's kind of some neat history that a lot of people don't know about, in our area.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, pulling. I mean, I can remember, at the Stampede, they had 2 days of pulling there. And I mean, I can remember seeing Orange Blossom Special. I'm even trying to remember. I mean, but that's, all the way back into the early 80s.
Oh, that's a lot of people don't realize that Luther's always put on a Grand National pull there.
Yep.
At Island Grove Park. And I mean,
yeah, it was huge.
You look back at the names, and I mean, a lot of big people. And what I used to love is we used to see California guys come out, because it was the closest national pull to those guys. And, there were several guys every year that we saw that we wouldn't see anyplace else, like the old Detroit diesel mod. And there was actually a John Deere super stock from almost down by San Diego.
Really?
Which, I mean, that was just some awesome little kid memories for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. I mean, that was little kid stuff for me. I just remember all that stuff.
Yeah. So, and being a Dodge guy, and I mean, it's pretty cool to see there's been kind of a little bit of a resurgence of Dodge pickups in that pro stock class.
Well, yeah, because you got mine, and then, Dwayne Pfister.
Yep.
He's got one.
Winans.
Jeff's got one. There's 2 more swept line pickups like mine that pull Outlaw National. I just can't remember the names of the trucks right now.
Yes. Yep. Nope. That's pretty cool. And just for everybody out there, and you still run a conventional head Dodge, correct? It's not.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the guys have went to that Hemi 99, which is still basically wedge. It's just a little. It's what with their pro stock NHRA car or motors that they have moved up into that class.
Yeah, it's still a wedge design. Just the spark plug comes through the lower portion
of the valve cover.
The valve cover, not it's not a Hemi at all. They call it a Hemi 99, but it's not a Hemi.
It's Hemi in name only.
Yep.
Jeff Whining says Matt Strange.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
And I think there's a Dom Lurs or somebody. There's 2 or 3 of them now, which I mean that's great because those things. There hadn't been many Dodges for several years. And have you always kind of been of a Dodge or Mopar fan?
Yeah, always been a Mopar guy.
Okay.
Except for the truck. Except for the pickup that I bring it to the polls with, and that's dirt.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything about that, but that is true.
Yeah,
I will tell on you on one other thing. You showed up in Windsor, Colorado at the big outlaw poll, and I'm not sure I have ever seen a cleaner Dodge. It must have been like a 95.
Oh, that would be my 92. That was
was it 92?
Yeah,
okay,
the white one with the blue stripe on the bottom.
Holy smokes! Yeah, that thing looked immaculate.
So that's that truck my wife actually bought for me as a Christmas present. I think we're like 17 years ago, and it sat here at my house, and it belonged to my uncle, and he couldn't fix the front end. So she ended up buying it from him, giving it to me as a Christmas present.
Dan, I can tell you I've done some stuff wrong in my life, and you maybe ought to take some lessons, but my wife ain't never bought me no pickup for a present.
Well,
that's
it didn't look nothing like what it does now. But,
still that's
kids,
impressive.
Oh yeah, both kids have driven that to school, and it's been wrecked by my daughter once and my son once. But yeah,
I'll be darned. Okay.
Jeff Whining says Alan Brommel has the other swept line.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, that guy's on top of it. Well, I will tell you, those Dodge guys stick together a little bit. I will warn you. You might know this already.
Yeah. Well, Dwayne. I mean, he's awesome. I can't say enough about him. But he's helping me, with my truck right now, because we're going to convert from the automatic and the 205 to a reverser and a drop box.
Oh, very nice.
Carol says thanks for the shout out.
Yeah. Well, hey, sounds like she earned it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. She's hospitality. When we show up to the polls, she's she's always making sure she talks to people when they come up to the truck, because when we get there and I'm trying to get the truck ready, I don't really have, I shouldn't say time, but I don't want to spend talking to people. So she talks to them and tells them about everything, and I just go about my business and get the truck ready to go.
That's just because you're stuck up, isn't it?
Yeah. Who invited this guy, huh?
Jason Brown says, why is Dan so quiet?
That's because we're talking about trucks instead of tractors. So
Meister says Dan needs more life lessons than that, Greg.
I think I got one this weekend for those guys. So
let's not get off topic too far, but Dan's learned a lot the hard way. But
yeah. I'm still recovering from the machinery show. So
yeah. So you have any? Have you had any special moments here in the last couple of years, or even 6-7 years, or any? I know you've had some. You've really branched out, to where you went to Arizona and a few things. You got anything that's really stuck out? Has been some really good moments pulling here.
One that really sticks with me is that outlaw show in Windsor.
Yep.
Because I pulled into there and I'm like, I'm thinking, my truck runs pretty good. We're going to put on a good show. And, and I had a lot of customers of mine that were going to be there, and a lot of, people that I knew, and it did not go nowhere near. I mean, for me, it was a disaster.
Well, I tell you what, that deal and that, that's interesting. You brought that up. That stuff, you take those outlaw trucks that have been running around a while out back east, and it's a great group of people. I mean, they're super, super helpful, but them things run.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they are no stinking joke, and it's just a different level, and we've always had, while we've been 200-300 horsepower shy of them out here, we've had a very, very good, consistent class of pro stocks in Colorado. But, sometimes you get isolated from that mainstream that, you can do really well out here, and you step up to that next level. It's a pretty big step.
Oh yeah. It's a huge step. And then there's a cliff right after it. It's like,
we have all,
here we go.
We have all been there. Yeah, for sure. But I'll tell you what, it's also, I love seeing guys get out and see some of this stuff. And it's no knock on any of the polling out here. But we've been there ourselves, as far as my mom and I and dad and stuff, that you can get complacent out here.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see, what's going on elsewhere as well. And that's one thing that we love about our affiliation with Outlaws. It kind of gets some of that together a little more, and we're hoping to build that up, more in the future as we go.
Yeah.
Chris Slaughter says, keep up the truck talk.
Yeah. Chris is one of those outlaw guys, and he hooked with us at the Heartland shows, and he was a great addition. He's got a good running Chevy truck.
Oh, nice.
So Windsor your first time pulling at that level then with your
It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll shake your tummy up a little bit too.
Oh, man, and I went out, and I looked at the track, and and I made a few adjustments, and I'm thinking, it's not going to be that bad. Man, I tell you what, when they spend the amount of time that they did working on a track like that, yeah.
That's a Kevin Bauer specialty, man. That dude, yeah. I have lurked behind the scenes and watched that guy build tracks, and it's amazing what he does. And that deal at Windsor, he built that. He put a ton of time, more than I've seen him a lot of places, but it was cool to see. For me, the one thing that I hate from the guys back east, everybody's like, we're going to head out to a sandbox and it's going to be terrible. It's going to be dusty. Kevin put that track together, and I'm going to tell you what, it put some people to their knees. You got a diesel super Doug Meisinger that's, north of 5,000 horsepower, and man, that thing was locked in, and it was good to, I don't know how you want to say this, but it was kind of an audition for us, for the Eastern guys coming out, that, hey, that, we can have stuff at the same level. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That track, that thing was stickier than bubble gum on your shoe. It was,
yes.
I was just like, holy cow, And the second night, I think we made it all of 4 feet and grenaded the drive shaft between the tranny and the transfer case. And I'm like, cool. Let's put it back in the box and go home.
There's a weak spot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But if you don't break stuff, you don't know where the weak spot is, and you're not pushing.
Well, and some of that's learning too, and again, we've all been through it,
Yep.
Dwayne says hello.
Are you have any plans or places that you're looking forward to going, or maybe absolutely, maybe even branching out and going to some big national outlaw pulls?
So depending on how the truck works with all the new parts, Dwayne truly believes that it's going to be competitive.
Yeah.
And I can do nothing but believe the guy, because he hasn't steered me wrong, no way, no how. So if it's competitive, then yeah, I want to go. I'd like to do a couple of the national shows. I'd like to do a couple of the 2-day shows, but I really want to do Iowa State Fair.
Okay.
Ooh. Dwayne says it's going to be a game changer.
That's what he keeps telling me, so I'm just going to believe him.
Yeah. Well, one thing to remember on the Iowa State Fair, that is a pretty cool pull that come back online here, had been missing for a couple of years. it may be worth hitting a couple pulls because they do limit numbers there. That might be something to kind of keep in mind. But man, I would highly recommend Ravenna and some of those pulls. Because that's one of the closest. I think that might be the closest outlaw national pull that we would have, and that's
as long as it doesn't rain.
Gibbon would be closer.
Yeah, isn't that
would
one
be
really
closer.
early too? I'd have to look at the schedule again. But I
Yeah,
think that's
Ravenna's early. Yep.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you something else too. Don't discount hitting a couple of those, even if you aren't 100% competitive, because sometimes it's kind of getting your feet wet and getting acclimated to the bigger shows isn't really the word, but also the tracks, the sled setup. It would be worth hitting a couple.
It's all about learning, you know.
Oh,
and the
yes.
more, the more you hook, the more you learn. It's just like,
Absolutely.
It's just ain't no different than, Dan with his tractor.
Oh yeah.
Going all kinds of different places.
You bet. Yeah, it's been fun to watch him do that same thing, because I don't know. You look at Dan got a little rough start there. He got really handy, and Andrew probably had a hand in this too, replacing transmission bearings there every few runs for a while, and
yeah,
certainly didn't jump out on top, and you guys worked through some issues, and that's going to happen to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you change a bunch of stuff,
Dwayne says they ran Jeff's 470 with stuck tranny and transfer case and did well in the class.
Yeah.
I don't know. Marty Samuelson from Ravenna says Ashton in August. I don't know.
July.
Yeah, that
July 6th.
John, you haven't went to Ashton, have you?
I'm trying to think.
Ashton?
No,
Yes.
I pulled that last year.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's one of my favorites. That's just a neat environment. Way different than honestly, it's way different than we're used to in Western Nebraska and even in Colorado, because we probably get as many or more fans out here, but that's just a good old backwoods in the trees.
So
I mean, it's a cool environment. I love that.
That one's super cool because there's more guys there, competing than there is people that live in that town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, you might have a point.
Because it's like, you pull in there and it's like you got a baseball diamond. It's like cool. And then you have this beautiful pulling track.
Yeah.
That looks like it's more maintained than the baseball diamond is. It's like, oh, these people are serious here.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Central Nebraska, those people, they love their pulls, and it's a different deal. That pull there, they even, they don't charge admission. I don't know if you knew that. They go around and they do a free will donation. And, it's just one of those pull your pickup up to the track, back up, sit in the back of it. And
yeah.
What'd you think of the Arizona experience last year?
So that's really cool, and I enjoy that. I'm kind of disappointed that we're not going this year.
Yes.
Because I enjoyed going down to Wilcox and pulling 2 nights down there, and then coming back up
to Chandler
and pulling up there. And I was really hoping that we were going to get to do that again.
Yeah.
But I guess,
I apologize. Yeah. Rod and I it was a little more than we could bite off. They wanted us to fundraise and line up sponsorship, and I just can't do sponsorship from 1,000 miles away very easy. And
no.
Well, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because when you have a name as big as those guys are, why do you have to bring your own sponsors in?
Yeah.
Well, Randy's deal though, it's amazing the amount of money it takes to put on those events. The track, the drag racing deal is a whole nother world. I got indoctrinated or stuck into it a little bit when we did the Bandamere pull a couple times with Randy, and Randy's been super to work for.
2016, I think, was the first one.
Yeah, and we're sitting there beside the track when there was like an altered with a Cummins in it, that something failed in the brakes or something. And he went off we're sitting at the end of the track. Like, I'm literally sitting on the sled and it's by the scoreboard in Bandamere. And this this diesel thing goes screaming by, and he went into the net.
Oh yeah.
Which was, I mean,
yeah, at over
it
200
was
miles an hour.
It was up close and personal because we were sitting right there, and I mean, we literally went and helped drag stuff out, and Randy had to pay like 18 or 20,000. It was some ridiculous number that he had to pay on top of his rental to pay for that net.
Really?
Oh yeah, because anytime something goes into the kitty litter and uses the net, I mean, yeah, because you have to replace the net every time.
Yep.
And then of course you have to go through it. I mean, it's like golfing.
Yeah.
You can't mess up the sand trap. You got to get that through and rake it all out real nice.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. All jokes aside, we did get the rake out, albeit on the tractor, and clean that all up. Yeah, you're correct. But it surprised me on top of the rental. He also he had I'm going to throw ridiculous numbers, but it was like $40,000-$50,000 to rent the track for the couple days. But then he had to turn around and pay like another 18 on top of the net. And I mean, you just don't think about the money it takes, and that's
because for us, we just show up and, unload and shine it up a little bit.
We're a pretty mobile circus, man. We can, drop into Ashton beside the baseball field and zip out a track and go pulling. And we just don't think about some of that stuff. And I feel for Randy on that end of the deal, but again, it just didn't quite work out.
Tammy Pfister says that Dwayne is going to the Sublimity Harvest Fest in Oregon in September. Who else is going?
Maybe.
September, huh?
All I'm gonna say is damn her, because
Oh, so he blanks out of it as reasoning. That sounds like Greg.
I wonder if he got a phone call. He's doing this from his phone again tonight.
Oh, we should buy him a laptop.
Yes. I guess I have a question. Well, okay. Tammy says that's awesome. What is your favorite venue or town to pull in?
Last year that it wasn't Hayes, Kansas. We're the other pull in Kansas.
Goodland.
That thing was cool because the people there were, and it was part of their county fair, I believe, or the state fair. I don't think it was state fair. I believe it was county fair.
Yep.
But those people were just awesome. We were walking around and everybody's just like, oh, you're a competitor? Yeah. Well, what do you and they wanted to know everything about what you were, what vehicle you had and when you were pulling. And yeah, that was really, really nice.
Yeah. They got a good facility there too.
Yep.
Where's that at? I may have just taken a little break.
Goodland.
Yes. I want to touch back on that Sublimity Harvest Fest. Have you guys paid attention to any of the stuff around that or the event itself?
I've watched the videos and stuff from it. That's been about it. It
looks like there's people hanging out everywhere. And it's kind of an obscure pull, but you know what? I think it's a really big deal in that area. And I would be, for one, I would love to go. I think that would be awesome.
Well, I'm all for it as long as I don't have, anybody, any other pulls going. Because
sure, yep.
I'm a points chaser.
I understand.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
As Dan would say, you ever get tired of winning?
Yeah. You ask me that every time I see you.
Well,
yeah. That started with you though.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
The one thing you have to remember is that being on top, there's always somebody coming. Sometimes it takes a while, and it's hard to stay on top of that mountain any place you are.
Dwayne says there was 10,000 people there 2 years ago.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
The being on top thing, I'm nowhere near from being on top. I like to think I am.
Sure.
But with the changes that we're doing now, it's going to get us closer to being competitive all the way up on top.
You bet.
And I just, for me, I don't like to show up to a pull and look around and go, wow, there's a lot of really, really good trucks here. And then, well, I guess, last place ain't that bad. I want to be able to pull in there and go, yeah, there's a lot of really, really good trucks here, and know that
you have a chance.
We're going to be able to put on a good show.
Yep. And I think we all strive for that. Sometimes it takes time to get there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day, and sometimes as pullers, some of the pullers forget that a little bit, that, some of this stuff takes, you have to ratchet up. Cause I'll be the first to admit, I've won my fair share of pulls here and there, and, some out east back in the day, but sometimes I'm not going to lie. One of my biggest accomplishments was I got a 6th place at Rock Valley. That was bigger than winning a pull out here. And it's
hell of a hook that day.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell. I mean,
everything aligned.
Blind squirrel found a nut. That's all I can say. But I, again, sometimes like there's levels to it that. I don't want to take anything away from out here, but there's times in our classes that we pulled with 3 people and a win, just like it's just another day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cool to get up
more than I haven't.
Yeah, and that's no fun. It's nice to get good competition too.
Oh, definitely.
And with that being said, I don't want to take away your guys' pro stock class. When you got 7 guys rolling 7 deep in some of the NSPA shows, there's some tough trucks for that class.
There are a lot of really, really tough trucks.
Yeah. Yes,
and that's not. Why I was excited too that we changed the rules, and then now it's all straight outlaw across the board.
Yeah. Well, and that will allow you to head back east, and and the thing is, it's the old adage of iron sharpens iron. You head back east and really start knocking heads with some of those guys. It will make you better.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'm going to turn this a little different direction, John. Go a little more personal. What's your day job? What pays for the truck?
I'm a Snap-on Tools dealer.
Okay.
So I have a route in Fort Collins and a little bit of Loveland. So second generation diesel mechanic, but then after my second back surgery, we decided to do something different.
Sure.
So, it's the saying is that guys that can't either teach or sling tools. So we're slinging tools.
Oh, mercy.
But it's a good job, and I enjoy it because I'm still part of the industry. I still get to see all the new stuff
around your people. With it. Yeah.
So
you just don't get dirty now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
except for on the weekends.
You also had a pretty big hand in the. You guys gave away some nice trophies and stuff at Windsor. That was some of your doing, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think we did. What do we do? 32 sets of wrenches. I believe.
I knew there were several things. Yeah, I just looked over the fence at all the cool stuff that everybody got.
Yeah, we did. We did. So for both nights, each class winner got a set of wrenches.
Yep.
And then, I don't remember the dollar value that was also in there on top of the wrenches.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's awesome.
It took quite a bit of talking to get my fellow franchises to be part of it. And I'm like, you guys don't understand. This is on TV. This is as big as Mile High Nationals for us up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So quite a few guys got on board, and then there was a few that didn't.
I hope, and I think a lot of us will say the same thing. I hope that poll comes back. I think there's been talk. It may be a couple years away, but man, I'd love to see that event carry on in some form or fashion.
will it stay in the same location if it comes back?
I don't think
It's hard
so.
to
So I
Or is
believe
it going to
the-
be a continually
I don't know.
new one?
Well, so the way I understand it is, so that's a sledding and a short ski slope, and then
Yep.
at the bottom, it was designed at the bottom to be a pulling track
Yes.
because Martin Lynn, I mean, he's huge into motorsports. He's huge into a lot of sports. Period. But that's why he did all that.
Yeah, that hill was.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I think the whole issue is actually pits now, because where we were pitted 2 years ago, that actually wasn't even, his land.
Yeah,
that
he
was
actually had a
that was
rental
either
agreement.
rented or borrowed.
It was slated to be developed, but I think with the the housing market slowed down a little. I mean, it's still hot, but with the interest rates, it slowed down. Last I heard, it had been developed, but it was
supposed to be.
there was plans for a housing development where we pitted, and it wasn't the handiest setup.
No,
It was a cool,
no, because we were
cool
almost
venue.
a mile away.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
But
didn't go back and forth to the trucks at all, or the trailers and
not
track.
unless you had a side by side or a four wheeler. That's for sure.
I will tell you, I heard some pretty darn good stories about, and I can not confirm this, but it sounded like the modified 4x4 guys, that there might have been more bartering and gears getting loaned out and changed to lower gear ratio after they saw what happened to some of you guys,
Oh yeah, I mean,
because they thought it
I
was
can
going to be a
truly
pretty
believe
loose
that.
track. And they were out there I think there was more Profab quick change transfer cases pulled apart than you could shake a stick at that night.
yeah. Well, and there was quite a few guys too that came from California
Oh yes.
and like Idaho, because there was, I think, modified. I think there was 5 or 6 that came from the West Coast.
Yes.
Yep.
Which was cool to see. Because once again,
Oh,
like Colorado's kind of in the middle.
oh,
Bring a
absolutely. Well,
bunch of
it's
guys
the
in, so I'd
closest,
love to see it come back.
Yes. Well, we're, when the time comes, I mean, I haven't heard from Jeff for a while on that front, but I know it wasn't a dead deal. It's something they want to try to get done again.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if we didn't have to overnight it to like State Fair again afterwards. That was a long trip.
Oh, come on, Jazz.
Oh, Dan, I don't know if you went there. I guess you probably remember some of that, but I'm going to tell you, the help end of the deal, it was a ragged bunch at the State Fair, man.
I was
we
there
got
like
through it.
7:30 in the morning, like trying to help people get in the gate.
I'd go home and fix a
Oh.
competitor's tractor that night.
You did.
Yes, I did.
It was none of us got enough sleep there.
No.
I don't know. I was close. I'm like 5 minutes from home, so it was good.
Yeah.
I'd love
Yeah.
to see it come back because that's like the absolute closest pull that I have ever been to, and it's
Yeah.
it was nice. Just roll out. Oh yeah, let's go to the pull.
Yeah.
Todd Vaughn just hopped on, wants to know the name of the pickup of
It
John's
is the
pickup.
dude. So we actually robbed that from
Pop up a picture here.
in the late 60s and early 70s, the swept line pickups, they actually had one of the trim packages was called the dude. So that, of course, being a 71 Power Wagon,
Yeah.
we robbed that, and then my wife did the graphics and everything, and we changed it all up. So, because diehard Mopar guys, they walk up and they go, "Oh, I remember a truck like that from when they were kids." And then everybody else just sees it as a name.
I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big Dodge guy, so forgive me, but I got an education. There's a collector south of us here about 40 miles that, and I like international pickups, and that explains some things. But I can't believe all the special packages they had. This guy showed me a Palomino, a dude, a whole. I was just blown away at all the little things that they had made.
Yeah, and they were cool too, because you could get them, with bucket seats and a console and a big block. I mean, it was wild, some of the stuff you do. And then you got, you could also get a lot of the muscle car colors, sassy grass green, plum crazy purple.
Really?
Yeah, you could get those, also. So it was cool, but the Dodge stuff just is not as big as the Ford or the Chevy stuff.
Yeah.
But you start looking at those trucks online now, and the price of them is just absolutely through the roof.
I will tell you that brings up another point. Just like you talking about that group there, around Longmont. I worry that our street stock days are going to be somewhat numbered. You took 20, 30 years ago out here, we had kids that would go buy an old square body clapped out pickup and put something together to pull.
Yeah.
It's tough to go buy an old 70s pickup now because all of a sudden those things are getting to be valuable.
Oh, yeah. I don't even think, street, modified gas or street stock. I don't even think there's a class for it now here in Colorado.
Really?
Yep. Because there was 2 trucks, myself and Joe Hopkins.
Yep.
And we're the last 2 basically that pulled that modified gas down here, and then we both went pro stock.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Joe stepped up and he's pulled some in our pro stock class. He got everything together. Yeah.
So I mean, there's and there's not kids, like we were growing up. Farm
my
kids
worry
or,
is it's not attainable.
Kids.
It's not attainable for them.
No, because you get one of them young guys that say he does have, mid 80s Ford or a mid 80s, Chevy, and they show up, and then all of a sudden, somebody like me would show up in still a modified gas, but it's basically a pro stock truck with mufflers on it.
Yeah.
And then that kind of, they don't do as well as they think they're going to do. And
I can tell you, I can tell you stories for a long time about that. When I started running an antique sled, and we always pulled pickups too. This thing, it went through that cycle about 3 times where guys stuff got really hot, and everybody got frustrated, including the low level guys. Everybody quit, and then pretty soon it would start back over again.
Yep.
Because we had a local guy here, Tom Heck, which won't mean anything to a lot of people, but that guy had a pickup that was just unbelievable. And it seriously cycled like 2 or 3 times. But my worry is I don't think that we've got that next generation coming up. And, we get guys that have showed up a little bit with some 90s and 2000 pickups, but it's not the same.
No, it's not at all. And I mean, I think, unfortunately, that the days of that quote unquote, beginner class, is gone.
Yes.
And then it's gonna start at the pro stock, which, years ago was a budget class.
Yeah.
You'd go from a street truck to a pro stock, and you were still.
It was a stepping stone. Yeah.
Yeah. And nothing is a budget class anymore. I don't care if you're pulling an antique.
My Lord, yes.
Nothing is a budget class anymore.
Yes, and I will tell you that's one fear I have of pulling right there. That and insurance, where do we get guys starting? And that is kind of an issue.
Yeah.
Brian Loomis says they are running diesel pickups now that are stock.
Yeah, stock with a tune and
did he do the quote stock?
It's got quote, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. I can see it pop up on there.
Yeah, but I can't see, so I can't see that little. But I'm gonna tell you what, that's another thing, like that diesel pickup thing. We ran through a few cycles of them, and I mean, it's crazy to look at 700-800 horsepower get you laughed at in places, in the stock class. That's just crazy.
Corey Harrison says he ran a super stock truck, but seems like everyone worried about diesels or blower trucks.
That's interesting. I wonder where he's from, because blower trucks are just a real regional thing. Neat class, but
Yeah. Well, then super stock. I mean, that's I believe that would be the class above pro stock, where they're basically the same truck, but they're bigger cubic inches.
yeah, and maybe you know about this from like Wisconsin and some of those areas. There's a lot of 530 cubic inch trucks. Is that kind of what you're thinking? The super
Yeah,
stock?
because I think the cubic inch limit for super stock is 540 inches.
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Yeah, and that's there's a big deal in Wisconsin in that area as well. Oh, is that where that
East
kid's
Coast?
from? Is
Yeah.
Kentucky?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I think, like
Okay.
Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, a lot of those states right in that area there, they have their big block class, and then they have their high output big block, which is basically the same
Yeah.
as pro stock and super stock. So
Yeah, but it's amazing how the regional how stuff gets. There's quite a class in Montana that's like 560 cubes, carbureted, but the rest of the chassis is just like a mod 4x4, cut tires and everything, and it's just a complete off the wall class. But they've got 7 or 8 guys, and they've got a great class, but it's something that doesn't translate to any other part of the country besides maybe Idaho.
yeah. That's
So,
wild.
But with that being said, that's one thing that I'm really happy. I know some of the people, like you said, may not be happy about it in Colorado, but if we get stepped up and everybody's the same, it allows us to go back and forth. Even though the one trap you don't want to fall in, we're not going to get a ton of people to come from Iowa to pull in Colorado
No.
for a couple reasons. One of them, the most important reason is they've got 40 hooks they can go to within 200 miles.
Yeah.
We don't have that out here, but it is nice. I love to see the commonality of the rules.
Yeah.
Corey says their super stock or super street is a 514 cubic inch limit, no drop boxes or reversers. And then Ron Stone, super street 4x4 small cubic inch, 415 or less, cast iron heads and blocks, 1850 carb with choke tower, racing gas, 1 ton, running gear factory frame, DOT tires, chassis, and body match.
Ron loves this. Ron come from this Tay Valley that he's shown me a ton of stuff from in what I think Southern Ohio, and you can't believe all the people and the classes and different truck classes they had. It was like watching the tractor classes in Ashton. They had that many truck classes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen some of it on Facebook because I try to follow some of it because there's a lot of cool trucks and tractors out there, and
Yes.
it's like wow, and you're trying to understand, well, what class is this, and then, oh wait a second, oh wait, what class is and it's like wow, but they got a lot of really really cool trucks and tractors out there.
Yes. Yeah. No, that is interesting.
I'm trying to remember. There's a Ohio, Pennsylvania area. There's an extended cab Dodge pickup up there, and he runs their high output and Public Enemy. And if you ever see that thing online, man, is that a good looking truck?
Huh? I'll have to look that up.
Ron says you can build an 800 horsepower small block for under 20,000. For that class he's talking about.
Ron, just a little background with Ron too is Ron ran a club for a while by the name of Flint Hills Pullers, and they had quite a, and I think they had a small block class.
Well, that's what he's talking about. He said that's the class he ran with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Flint Hills. Yep.
So, Jeff Winning says Mark Petros.
That's the guy. And yeah, that truck is. I mean,
those Dodge guys are amazing. I mean, it's like a little network, man. They all know.
There's only a small few of them.
That's why we're so tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Ron. He did a fantastic job at the Farm Machinery Show singing the national anthem. It
Oh,
was good. He got invited to do that.
Yeah.
That's
How
about all
was
I
that?
remember of that night.
That guy can sing a little, man. It's kind of crazy.
He can. He can. He did just fine.
I don't know whether to call him a singer that announces or an announcer that sings. Ron, which would that be, Ron?
Yeah.
He says
I
thanks,
think-
buddy.
I think if I talk to Kurt, I think he's an announcer that sings.
After hours.
Yeah,
That's how he
yeah.
earns his gas money.
Yeah,
That's how he gets home.
yeah.
Or free
Yeah.
booze in the pits, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, John, you got anything else? I mean, you got any? What about sponsors? Do you have any sponsors besides the day job, or?
So, yeah, well, I mean, me, and then I have an awesome sponsor, Cook Mechanical out of Loveland. They're very, very large mechanical company, HVAC and heating and ventilation, spiral piping. They have actually their own patent spiral piping that they do, and those guys are phenomenal.
Okay.
The president of that company, super good guy, loves drag racing and motorsports and everything. And those guys there at Cook Mechanical are awesome, and they help me out a ton. And I'm just
Awesome.
super grateful for those guys.
Okay. That brings up another topic a little bit. I cannot believe the outlaw pullers, when we talked to them that they were coming out to Colorado, they thought it was going to be a bunch of tree huggers and all of this stuff. And while that stuff exists in Colorado, I think they underestimated the farmer, cowboy, redneck population that's still here.
Yeah. Well, because they didn't get anywhere close to Boulder, so they were all
Oh,
good.
But they thought Boulder was the whole state, and it's like, this is just a little part of Colorado. The rest of it is,
it's tiny compared to the whole
Yeah.
state.
Ron Stone says couldn't do either right now. Picked up the Louisville flu last week.
That's not good.
Also says love the old swept line Mopars.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I absolutely love mine. So we're actually trying to find another one, and we'll start putting another one together for my son.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
It'll probably be a couple more years, but he really wants to drive mine, and I believe after we get the changes all done, Dwayne was talking about doing possibly a test and tune somewhere up there by him. And I'm going to try to stick my kid in the truck at least for one or two hooks.
There, just throw this out there. There may be potential to hook something in Wheatland, Wyoming, Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, really?
I'm all for it.
It's not anything to do with any sanctioned pull, but there is it's kind of an interesting deal. There's a kid working on a diesel show that they could do some diesel drags. They want to do a little bit of pulling. It's not going to be sanctioned. It's going to be like a small version of what NHRDA is doing without the drag racing. But they plan on having show and a vendor row and some of that. It's going to be interesting. I like his ideas and where he's going. It'll be interesting to see if we can get it off the ground.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine because I'd come up and definitely hook.
Yeah, okay, I'll pass that.
Because we always used Arizona. That was basically our test session.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we go down there and we pull, and then if we got problems, well, we'd have at least 30 days before we actually went pulling again, so we could correct anything that went wrong.
Yes,
so,
it's hard to do that in July.
Really bummed about that. Yeah, because Memorial Weekend, we'll test there, and then if something breaks, well, we're supposed to pull the next weekend down here.
Oh, the first weekend of June?
Yep.
Okay. Is that the
really?
Breedley poll?
Nope, it's Kingsburg.
Oh, really?
oh,
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't pull Greeley at all anymore. I like to poke around and ask questions, and sometimes I stir the pot the wrong way, so I just left it alone anymore. I don't.
Well, Greeley is a tough sell. I've known a lot of people tried really hard to get pulling going there, and I just don't know what's changed, because it never ceases to amaze me. You can go 40 miles down the road to Brighton.
Yeah.
And they sell tickets like they're going out of style.
Oh yeah.
And, and
that place
Greeley just is, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Hopefully somebody will get it figured out.
Maybe absolutely.
Pull Stampede. If we could pull Stampede in the morning of the Demolition Derby.
Yeah.
That'd be super cool. Cause we've proven it. We can put on a show in, 3 hours.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, absolutely.
So
no, I know, I know Blaze have worked like heck to get something during the Stampede, and it's just tough to get in. And I don't know the specifics by any stretch, but I know they have worked on it in the past.
Yeah. So hopefully something will happen. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So.
Okay. Well, boy, guys, I don't know anything else. Dan, you got any parting shots?
Not really. I guess have the Pfister family in your thoughts and prayers. Dwayne lost his father this week.
Yes.
This past weekend. So we're all thinking about you guys up there in the hills. So
most definitely.
That was kind of unexpected and kind of a shock. So we're all thinking of you guys.
Sure.
So no, I really don't. Farm Machinery Show was awesome. Definitely, if you've never been, go. So,
yeah.
Tammy says, thanks, Dan. And any chance of putting a Bridgeport pull onto the schedule?
It's a maybe. And I've kind of beat this dead horse a little bit. It comes down to help, because I struggle because, I say me, but it's our family has put that pull on for quite a long time. And, you get to a pull, and Jazz and I have a lot of duties to do just with Outlaw, let alone then when we're the promoters as well. I would love to, but I need help.
But you haven't said no yet.
I haven't said no, but it's a good possibility.
Well, it sounds like you just need to delegate and pick up the phone and say, "Hey, we're going to pull up here."
I don't have that many.
You and you.
I don't have that many friends, John.
Your dad.
Right.
Must have lost my number, huh?
Did you? What?
It must have lost my number, huh?
Here's one more I'll throw at you, Dad. Dwayne says rule book.
That's squarely on me. Call and give me a hard time. I need to sit down and read that thing. We literally, I've used this excuse 100 times, but we could potentially have 5 basketball games this week. It's getting close to over, but I need a break.
Marty Samuelson says he is here. He's offered to help with Bridgeport on a couple shows.
Yes, I remember that, and I appreciate it.
Brian Loomis says he will help out in the beer garden in Bridgeport.
Drinking beer. I mean, I suppose you're helping somebody out, but man, come on. That's funny. We need to get that guy pulling again someday.
Yes.
So. All righty. Well, guys, thank you. And John, appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you this summer.
Well, thanks for having me on. I do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And looking forward to seeing the improvements and seeing the dude go farther.
Yeah, I'm excited. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. And we will see y'all next week.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.